this really isn't working today. At the start of a project, I always go to the library. I sit in the children's section with my notebook, and if I'm writing a story about mermaids, I have a look at what someone else has written about mermaids, and I make lots of notes. I talk to librarians and ask which books are popular, and I just write everything down. Sometimes I like to work in bed. I like to spread all my stuff around me, get my cup of tea, get my notebook and sit, and there's something about bed that feels really comfy and familiar, and it helps to kind of free up different ideas than I might have come up with at my desk. By the sea! When I'm plotting, I like to work on the lounge floor. It gives me a big open space that I can spread out on my work, and I like to work on really large pieces of paper, and I kind of plot in scenes, and then I cut up the scenes and I start to play with what goes where, and having all this space lets me lay them all out, because by the end it might be all the way across the rug. Sometimes I like to work in my writing hut. It's nice and quiet in here, and it's a space that's just for me, so it's a really good place to think hard about new ideas, and I sort of sit here and read, and it's also quite nice to have a messy space that I can paint and draw and just make a big mess without worrying about the lounge. Sometimes I like to work in coffee shops. Something about the ambient noise, the people chatting, the clink of cups on the saucers, that it allows you to get rid of all the other thoughts going on in your head and really focus in on what you want to write.
I only ever write in my study at my desk, because I think if you're looking out the window or if you're paying attention to anything else that's going on, you're not in your own head enough and you're not doing it right.
I work in lots of different places. I work sometimes in bed when I'm doing a first draft. It seems to be a good place to be very creative. When you're writing something secret, bed seems a good place for it. And sometimes I work at my desk, particularly if I'm editing, I work at my desk. But I also really like going to coffee shops, and sometimes when I work at home I put on a sort of sound effects of a coffee shop, so I can pretend I'm in a coffee shop as well. And I also work in the library. The place I can't work is outside, and I wish I could, but I just can't concentrate when I'm outside.
But when all's said and done, this is where I always end up. Even though I love the coffee shop, and I love going for a walk on the beach, and I love the park, and I love the library, this is where my real work takes place. It's where I do all my proper drafts, all my edits, my re-edits, my cut and paste, and the messy business of being a writer. What about you? Where do you write?